Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Brandon Moreno up against Askar Askarov at UFC Fight Night. Grasso versus Araujo. Great to see you, Brandon. How's it going? This is a really Sorry, Jesus. This is a really good fight for the division. Are you excited for this one?
Yeah, no, I'm just playing. But yeah, I'm super excited, man. I think Askarov someone that I've had my eyes on since before the UFC and just able to watch. And he's doing some really cool stuff on the ABC region or whatever. I think that was like the country he came from, but on the region that he was from, he was doing some cool stuff, man. And it's it's one awesome to kind of make that leap and go back to fighting someone ranked higher than me, and it's also just like I like the matchup and I like the possibilities in the fight.
Did you know that he's going to be fighting you very soon? Or was this an inevitability for you?
Yeah, I mean, it made sense to me because it was like I fought number seven like twice in a row, and I kept fighting like as number five. I kept fighting like the next person available, and I was kind of looking through the roster and seeing like after the match style fight of who was available and who wasn't, and Pantoja was available, but he wasn't going to take that fight for sure, and I get it. But and then Askar Askarov was available, and I knew that was probably the next matchup. It was just kind of when he was going to heal and all that stuff is just kind of when everything ironed out. So I knew I had like a little bit of ways to wait, but it was worth the wait.
You got a beautiful submission in your last fight, another guillotine. Is that gonna be same story against Askarov? How do you see yourself finishing him?
Man, I don't actually know, and I never know. And like that's the cool part about me too is just like I have multiple ways to finish the fight. I can finish the fight any which way, and I don't necessarily like see submission as like the main route, but I can see it for sure. I can see what I do see is honestly a rough first round. I think the first round's gonna be a little tough for me. I think the first round's gonna be tough for both of us, and that's what I really want. I just kind of want to embrace the suck, embrace the shittiness of a fight, and embrace like the grind of the fight. And then I know if I'm feeling like the craziness and the grind of it, then he's definitely gonna be feeling it. And that's kind of what I want. I want him to kind of just feel the pain of the fight, and I want to feel the pain of the fight, and then we'll go from there. Second, third round, I'm sure I'm gonna start taking over, finding some things and finding openings, and then just take whatever I have in front of me. And if I can get a knockout, that'd be ideal. But a submission is pretty much how my career has been going for the most part. Is just I've been doing well on the feet, and then people shooting on me, and then once that shot starts to get a little desperate, the submissions come easier.
It looks like it will probably be Pantoja to be next in line, but is this where you announce yourself that you're that next guy for the title?
For sure, man. I think the ideal route for me is to go walk through Askarov. If I could go out there and get a quick finish on Askarov or get a good finish on Askarov or look impressive on Askarov, I think that'll kind of X-nay my Pantoja loss. And for me, that's like the only loss I have in the UFC as of right now. So it's one, I want to get that back immediately, but two, it'll lead for a good opportunity for me to fight Pantoja on that January 21st card in Brazil.
I'm wondering, how did you get the nickname Raw Dog? Who gave that to you, and what was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
background?
Yeah. So the background was I was fighting amateur, one of my first two fights, and one of my roommates' friend was in the background, kind of yelling "Raw Dog in, Raw Dog in," and I guess like we kind of joked about it in the gym for years. And then one time I took a pro fight. I took this fight on what is it? It's PFL now, but it was World Series of Fighting before. I took this fight in World Series of Fighting, and I was just like, well, let's see like if I can make it on TV with this. And they announced my name, Brandon Raw Dawg Royval, and I knocked the dude out. And it was my first knockout. And then I went from not being on the card at all, or like not being on the TV portion of the card. But when I got the knockout, they boosted me on TV, and I was just like, they threw me on like a TV slot of the card. It was actually right after a Justin Gaethje fight, and they threw me like right after the Justin Gaethje fight, and like it ended up kind of blowing up from there. And then from there, I was kind of superstitious too, so I was like, I'll just stick with the name.
Fair play, man. That's a cool story. And the Kai Kara France win, how do you look back on that now to guillotine him in the second round early on, seeing him just compete for the interim title? Does that just show you that you're right up there on that level?
Yeah, I mean, I've always in my head said I was like at that level, you know, in like my head, I'm like, I'm at this UFC level. I could beat these guys, and I see what they're doing, and it's like, I'm like, I can compete with that. I can match that, and I could definitely beat that. And I'm more of a threat everywhere than these guys. But you just say that in your head for years, and it's like to brush elbows with these guys, to go fight Moreno, to go fight Kai Kara France, and all that stuff is one. it's super inspiring to see what they do. Is like see what Moreno has accomplished and to like see the platform he's created for himself. And same thing with Kai Car France, see what he's went on after our fight to do and accomplish has been amazing. So it's like, what one, it's inspiring, but two, it's just kind of like one of those like I've been saying it in my head over and over, like, yo, I belong here. Like I'm the top of the division, this, and that. But it's like now I officially believe it. Now I know I can hang with the top of the division. I can beat these guys, and not only do I belong, but I'm thriving, and I'm the top dog in this division.
Do you feel in any way kind of hard done by the Moreno fight? Like, do you think the universe owes you one back for kind of a bit of bad luck in that one? And like, is it destined to be you guys for the title? Do you think?
I mean, not necessarily. I was playing with fire there, but when I got signed to the UFC, I had a compromised shoulder completely, and it's like you can see like the surgery marks and stuff. It's like I had a compromised shoulder, like so. I knew I was kind of playing with fire. When I took the Tim Elliott fight, I wasn't able to really train or anything. And there's like a few times where like me and Tim Elliott were grappling and wrestling. I was like digging for underhooks in the middle of it. I was like, oh no, I can't do that. My shoulder will pop out. And then they offer me, then I win the fight, and then they offer me Kai Car France next. And he was number 7 in the world. And I was like, I mean, I've gotten this far with like, I already fought Tim Elliott, who I thought was a horrible stylistic matchup for me. And I fought Tim Elliott and I won the fight off of a shoulder and not being able to train. And I was like, Kai Car France is a perfect matchup for me. And I was like, all right, let's press the luck a little bit. And so I went out with that Kai Car France. That's like another key important part of my career is like the beginning part where I was taking fire is like I wasn't training. I couldn't train, I couldn't grapple at least, I couldn't grapple at all during those camps. I couldn't wrestle during those camps. All I could do is strike, and I couldn't even like really use my jab. And, like, jab's one of my main weapons, and the right lead hand's my main weapons. And I couldn't use that because it's dislocating every practice pretty much. And that's why you see like when I went and fought Moreno, my coach popped it in like he knew, like he's done it a million times because he has done it a million times, and he knew exactly what to do. And we kind of rehearsed it just in case it happened in a fight or something, how we could get back to getting that win and all that. And so for me, it was like I was playing with fire anyways. I already knew. But then I go beat Kai Car France, and then a week later, Cody Garbrandt drops out of the fight with the title shot, and they give Alex Perez the title shot, and that gave the number 1 contender a opening. And I was like, like I might as well just run this through and see if I could take on the number 1 contender, because Brandon Moreno was ranked number 1 at the time, and I was like, you know what, like let's see if I could just go take this. So I stood in that spot, and like I said, I was playing with fire the whole entire time, and I knew what I was working with, and I knew I had kind of like a bum shoulder, and I knew I needed that surgery and all that stuff. So it was one of those like it was like no surprise to anybody that knew me and knew me at the time what I was going through and all that stuff, what happened. But at the same time, it was like, I was playing with fire, and I deserved to get burned a little bit, or I was just lucky that it happened during that fight and not like when I was fighting Kai Car France or Tim Elliott or any of that stuff. And it took away a lot of the momentum I was gaining.
Are you intrigued to see them run it back a 4th time with Fiugeiredo and who comes out on top?
I mean, it's a great fight, but I mean, no, not really. I don't want to see him fight 4 times. I think Pantoja obviously is earning that title shot. I think Pantoja kind of got ripped off during the Kai Car, like when they gave Kai Car France title shot, or the interim, which the interim title shot made no sense to me in general, anyways, because it's like, why are we doing this? And I don't know. To me, it's like I think Deiveson won twice already, and Brandon Moreno did win that second time more decisively. But it was like, to me, I thought Deiveson won both the first and the last fight. So it was like, why are we going to do the 4th fight and just hold up the division? It's like, as someone in the top 5 division, it's just like I want to see somebody move on. It's like I want to fight Moreno, I want to fight Deiveson, I want to fight those guys. And it's like these guys are just fighting each other over and over again. It kind of just holds up the division and what I want to do. But that being said, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. So it's like I'm gonna be entertained and I'm gonna watch it every time. And every time they fight, I'm gonna go watch it. But I mean, I would rather see something else happen.
After the Kai fight, you said you quit your full-time job to go work in the juvenile justice system. Was that related to the shoulder? What was the motivation to go do that?
To quit the job, it was just to be a full-time fighter, man. When I was working in the juvenile justice system, I was working overnight. So in order to kind of maintain like my house, the house that I was living in and all that stuff without being like losing it and all that stuff, I needed to keep a full-time job. And also it's just like I needed sleep, man. And that was like kind of like partially what I was blaming my shoulder for too. I could never really recover properly. I was getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep, maybe, like if I was lucky, I was getting that much sleep during the day. And it was like I was training early in the morning and late at night, and then I would have like an afternoon, like two of the days where I would like have like a little bit more time to sleep in the day. I would have like an afternoon strength and conditioning program. So it was just like I wasn't getting any sleep at all, and I was like trying to take naps here and there and just trying to get sleep whenever I could, but it was just like um I just wasn't getting the recovery I needed. And it's like I needed to quit the job anyways because I wanted to take this full like to the full stride and all that. But it was just like I don't know, man. It was just taking a toll on my body. And it was actually one of those few things that like I was working overnight. So when I fought in Abu Dhabi, I thought that was something that helped me out. It's like I wasn't getting any sleep anyway. So in Abu Dhabi, when you're fighting overnights or whatever, like when we fought in the middle, like 4 a.m. in the morning, it was just like that's kind of an advantage for me because like, I was just waking up from a nap, like sleep deprived and going to go train anyway. So it was just nothing to me compared to like probably everybody else in that card.
That's a hell of a work ethic, man. All right.
Yeah, it was
Well,
crazy. It was crazy. I always think about that too. It's just like at this point in my career, and like that now that I have to work, and like now that like life's been so fortunate lately that it's like, would I don't think I could ever go back and do it again, or like if I didn't, I don't know, man. I love the sport, and I wanted to be here so bad that it was like it wasn't hard at the time, but like looking back and where I was putting myself there, and it was hard at the time actually. It was really hard, but it was just like I I don't know, man. If I knew I was gonna make it to the UFC, I don't think I would have put in as much work as I needed to put in. I don't think I would have made the sacrifice I need to make. And it's just like I'm happy that I'm here now, and I can't believe I did that because it's just like I would never do it twice. If I had to go back to that lifestyle, and like they're like, all right, you know what, you have to work this full time job, and then you get like then you'll go back to this. Like I could never do that again. Like it was so hard and it was just crazy, and I really couldn't believe I survived during that time, man, because I was doing some crazy stuff, driving sleep deprived, taking naps in my car, and just sleeping when I can. It was just wild, and just happy that I have this lifestyle now, man.
was working out pretty well. Just to wrap up, we'll do a quick fire on some of your UFC colleagues, if that's okay. So, who has the best jab?
Who has the best jab? Oh, I mean, just right off the bat, I'll say, oh goddamn, I'm so horrible with names. Just fought Chick Daisy, from Boston, has a great boxing.
Cater?
Yeah, Calvin Cater. Calvin Cater has, let's say Calvin Cater. We'll stick with
Who,
that.
who's the
But
funniest?
the funniest, oh, Paulo Costa, man, his Twitter's like the greatest thing that I've ever followed. I love watching Twitter, and yeah, it's great.
Who's the most annoying?
The most annoying. Ooh, that's a good one. The most annoying fighter. I'll just say Deiveson because he's affected my life pretty significantly.
Who is the hottest?
Who's the hottest? Oh, um, what's Brian Ortega's girl's name?
Cortez. Tracy Cortez?
Tracy Cortez. Yeah.
Who would make the best movie star?
Oh, the best movie star. I don't know, man. It was. I'm interested to see the Black Panther come out with Kamara Usman, see how he does. But I'm sure he'd probably be one of those guys that are pretty like great at all that.
Who'd you most like to have dinner with?
But I'm most likely to have dinner with. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to know him already and like kind of like brush out with him. But James Krause, man, I love James Krause. He's one of the more intelligent people I've ever met throughout my life, and just anytime I could pick his brain would be great. So I would love to have dinner with James Krause.
Who's the best dresser?
Oh, I would probably put James Krause in that boat too. But Joseph Benavidez. Joseph Benavidez could dress. Like, could dress. He dressed nice.
Who would you want by your side in a street fight?
The Diaz brothers.
A lot of people say that. That's a good one. Who would you want in your corner in terms of fighters?
Like as far as sophistication and knowledge, who's a smart fighter? There's a bunch of them, but I think Alexander Volkanovski is kind of fresh in my head right now, and just as far as like MMA intelligence and stuff goes, I think he'd be a great one.
Who's the best wrestler?
The best wrestler? Oh, Bo Nichols now.
And who's your dream fight?
My
Past or
dream
present?
fight would be Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson is my dream fight. He's my favorite, one of my favorite fighters, and dang, I might even put him in my corner now I think about it too. But yeah, just one of the best to ever do it.
Fantastic. You're the man, dude. I appreciate it. Who's the person to reach out to generally for interviews for you?
I would say reach out to Ed from Iridium.
Ed. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we
Ed
reach out
Cap.
to Ed Cap from Iridium. He's always a good one, man. Yeah, tell him
Appreciate it.
tell him that yeah, just reach out to him. It'd be great. And also, I just want to thank my sponsors, AP Glass, because they're actually the ones that also helped me quit my job. Otherwise, I'd still be working and doing all this crazy stuff, man. So I appreciate them to the fullest.
Who's gonna win? Did you tell me who's gonna win Moreno versus Fiugeiredo for?
Probably my luck. Moreno's gonna win, and they're gonna have to do a fifth fight. So probably that's probably what's gonna happen due to everything, honestly.
And you're the man. I appreciate it a lot. Good luck. Thanks.
You too. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Bye.
Cheers.